The light heavyweight division, where Antonio Tarver is the class of the division. Last night, Antonio Tarver took on Anthony Stewart in the box office, and the outstanding Tarver was perfect again. Let's take a look back at last night, Tarver and Stewart. On to the light heavyweights we go at the U.S. Olympic box office. Anthony Stewart takes on the Olympic trials champion Antonio Tarver. The introductions, our ring announcer, Bill Botham.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout is in the light heavyweight class. The light heavyweight division is 178 pounds or 81 kilograms. Introducing first in the red corner and hailing from Chicago, Illinois, Anthony Stewart. And in the blue corner, boxing out of Orlando, Florida, Antonio Tarver.
Well, as Anthony Stewart tries to pull off a big upset, he is literally facing an uphill struggle. The height certainly going to Antonio Tarver, and Tarver will want to use that to his advantage.
And Team Tarver is on hand. In the middle, Mother Gwendolyn, Antonio Jr., Antonio's 8.5-year-old son, and the woman to the left of your picture in the striped shirt is Antonio's grandmother, Rovina Gaither. We are ready for round number one with Team Tarver on hand. These are light heavyweights, Antonio Tarver and Anthony Stewart. Tarver, 27 years of age in the blue. Stewart at 23 years of age in the red. Tarver won the United States Olympic boxing trials when Glenn Robinson of the Bronx, New York, did not show up for his fight. It was a walkover. And Al, that also opened the door for Anthony Stewart.
Yeah, because Robinson was disqualified for then the challengers round, Stewart was the next man he would have faced. And so Anthony Stewart finds himself here with an opportunity. And when Stewart talked to us today, that's kind of the way he put it, that he did have an opportunity. He said, it benefits me, and I'm going to come out doing something different, and we see him doing it. He is not normally a southpaw. He is fighting Tarver as a lefty. He practiced just for this bout, feeling that maybe it'll throw Tarver off. We'll see.
He says his entire preparation has been geared toward fighting Antonio Tarver. Ironically, Glenn Robinson was the man that sent Stewart into the challengers bracket at the Olympic trials. And then Stewart got the walkover in that bracket and advanced to the box office. Al, what do you make of Stewart's early run as a southpaw?
Well, he's tentative so far, and if you're going to make a man, if you're going to switch so that you make your opponent befuddled, you're going to have to do something offensively. Because now what he's doing is giving Tarver a chance to actually figure it out by not being offensive-minded.
Stewart said that he was having problems seeing Tarver's left hand when he was fighting the conventional way, and he felt this move to southpaw would help. He feels he's stronger than Tarver. That remains to be seen.
Tarver, of course, ranked #1 in the world. He has won just about everything you can win. And so for Anthony Stewart, it would be quite an upset if he were to win this competition. Tarver, as you see him, is a very economical puncher. He feels he wants to make his punches count. And when he throws them, he intends to land.
There's that left over the top. 45 seconds to go in round one. There's that left hand from Tarver. Now he looks to move in and lets his hands fly.
His power punch, his money punch is that straight left hand. And you saw why.
It's amazing how straight his punches are and sharp. Tarver is a favorite to medal if he does advance to the Olympic Games. He's not only the best in the United States, but one of the best in the world. There's that left again.
Probably the only boxer from the United States really favored to win a gold medal.
Antonio Tarver and Anthony Stewart come to the end of round one. Up and Al Bernstein back at Augusta, Georgia. Antonio Tarver of Orlando is not only the best in the United States, but the best in the world. We go back to last night and round 3. We begin this third and final round. Antonio Tarver and Anthony Stewart. Tarver, the Olympic boxing trials champion. Stewart coming out of the challengers bracket. A Tarver victory puts him in Atlanta for the Summer Olympics as part of the United States Olympic boxing team. And so far, Al, he has fought a cautious fight, but an economical one that is effective.
He is very accurate with his punches, Antonio Tarver. If there is a concern probably by the coaches for the United States about Tarver being the U.S. representative, it would be that as good as he is and ranked #1 in the world, because he is so sparse sometimes with his punches, you run the risk in international competition of having that go against you.
Very patient.
He has victories over all the major light heavyweights around the world. He has certainly proved his mettle in international competition and is without peer here in the United States.
I guess there's no reason really at this point for him to take any chances. I mean, he'll just continue to flick that jab, fire off that left hand. And if Anthony Stewart doesn't do something, he could get shut out.
Diosvani Vega, his main rival, who he has beaten, is injured, will not be at the Olympics for Cuba. Ramon Garvey is going to be there. So we'll see how that plays out if, in fact, Tarver represents the United States at the Olympics, which it certainly looks like at this point he will do.
Tarver was 3-0 against Vega last year in 1995. And he's being cautioned for just holding out the hand and not jabbing. Garvey would bring a little experience to the table as well.
Yes, indeed. There is not a Cuban boxer alive who's near that team who doesn't bring something to the dance.
Frustrated fans here at the Augusta Richmond County Civic Center wanting to see more from Antonio Tarver. And Anthony Stewart is doing nothing to mix it up.
Well, Anthony Stewart came here with a plan. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked, and he has been unable to improvise or change that plan. As a left-hander, Stewart just hasn't gotten the job done, and at some point a change probably would have been warranted, but it didn't come.
Another left hand on the button to start that sequence for Tarver.
At least now Stewart is getting aggressive. Of course, there's a danger in that, too. That's the danger.
On cue.
I rest my case.
Still impressed with Tarver's defensive skills, the way he can slip a punch.
It's probably an overlooked part of his game.
Final 10 seconds of round 3. It looks like Antonio Tarver could be on his way to Atlanta in the light heavyweight division. You're watching the U.S. Olympic Box Office on NBC.
Mérite bien son...
Tarver scored a 17-0 victory over Anthony Stewart, advancing to the 1996 U.S. Olympic boxing team. Antonio Tarver is one of 12 boxers going to Atlanta. His son will be going with him. A closer look at the entire team with Al Bernstein. Al?
Eric Morrell, Madison, Wisconsin, flyweight.
This slick boxer, a native of Puerto Rico, needed a tiebreaker against Ramesses Patterson.
Champ at 119 pounds.
This charismatic 19-year-old started the Philadelphia onslaught when he outboxed Steve Carter and won a 16-4 decision with a flawless performance.
Terrence Crawford, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, lightweight 132.
Facing a mirror-image style in Jermaine Fields, Terrence was able to duplicate his trials victory by the exact same margin.
David Diaz from Chicago, Illinois, 139 pounds.
He may be the blue-collar worker of the U.S. team. David was unranked when the trials began, but he beat Zabdiel Judah to get to the Olympic Games.
Fernando Vargas, Oxnard, California, 147-pound class.
Facing hometown hero Brandon Mitchum and a boisterous crowd, Vargas persevered and won a 3-point decision to win the welterweight division.
David Reed from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 156 pounds.
The Philadelphia trifecta was completed by David Reed, who dominated Darnell Wilson 20-5 to earn his spot on the team.
My name is Rashad Wells. I'm from Riverdale, Georgia, 165.
It took a last-minute comeback for this Georgia resident to earn his spot on the United States Olympic boxing team.
Antonio Tarver, Orlando, Florida, light heavyweight.
The #1 ranked light heavyweight in the world lived up to his expectations by dominating Anthony Stewart to keep his Olympic dream alive.
Nate Jones from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a heavyweight, 201.
4 years ago, he watched the Olympics from a jail cell. When he won here at the box office, he earned a chance to compete in the 1996 games. Albert Guardado justified his
headed to the ring for his light heavyweight preliminary bout, and by the time Ross climbed out, they knew. He's the boxer with the lethal right, a shot he used 3 times on Roland Reform of Seychelles, stopping Reform in round 3 for the Olympic Games' first knockout victory. And this to advance to the round of 16 today against Paul Mabongo of Cameroon. In a few moments, Ross will try to unleash the left-right combination again, this time to earn a spot in the quarterfinals of the Olympic boxing tournament. Russ, I think the point is that Troy Ross put the rest of the boxers in his class on notice with that lethal right that he used against Roland Reform.
He certainly did, and he's going to have to do it again. And today, the key in that fight, what he did, though, if you noticed, he boxed first. That was his primary thing. He backpedaled, he boxed, he waited, Reform came. He threw the left hand, even just landed it on the shoulder and turned over that right hook, and by the 3rd time, that was it. Reform wasn't going to get up. And I see the same thing happening with Mabongo. He's going to come. He's a big, strong guy. The only time you'll see him backpedaling is if he's got the lead, but he'll come, and Troy will box, and he'll protect that punching perimeter. And anytime Mabongo gets in that punching range, watch that left hand come out, and he's going to finish with the right hook.
So anybody phoning the Russ Amber psychic hotline would hear exactly that.